Hey guys, in this episode I'm going to show you how I have set up my own little squirrel chute. I've been out with the keeper on this estate now on several of my days off, and upon feeding up it's quite apparent that there are quite a few squirrels knocking around this wood. So I've decided to erect a feeder, find an ideal location, erect the feeder and have some fun on my days off. So here I have chosen a tree roughly central to a small plot of land just to the right of the farm. That's the tree I'm going to be using, and the location I'm recording from here is going to be the shooting location. It seems to be conveniently tucked behind this silver birch tree with a natural rest. Now the design of my feeder isn't necessarily a conventional one. I've simply got some garden wire to house or to keep hold of a clear container, just so that I can actually see whether or not it needs feeding or topping up from the roadway just over there. Now I'm using a plastic bottle with a broad, wide neck on it, so that one, it's easier to fill the peanuts up, and also it means that the nuts won't get stuck when it's kind of self-dispensing into the little tray on the feeder there, as you can see. Just making sure the nuts self-dispense nice and easily. And it's now time to get it bolted to the tree. A quick check back to make sure I've got visibility from the shooting position. Just snapping off a couple of these twigs here just in case they happen to impede with any of the flight paths from the pellets. And there we go. I actually think it looks rather good, and the reason I've used a plastic bottle once again is just so that I can see if it needs topping up from the road, so I don't have to get out of the car or truck just to go over and see if it needs any more nuts. I've also left the wires exposed so that I can actually undo it and do it back up again nice and easily without having to take the whole feeder off of the tree. And here's the view from the shooting position once again. And there you go, from the road. It's nice and easy to see, and also the gamekeeper can keep his eye on it for me as well. So I've arrived on the farm to check the squirrel feeder. It's been up in situ for 4 days, and I'm going to go and see now if there's one, anything on it, and two, how much food they've eaten, and also top it up. And then we can come back in a couple more days' time and shoot it. It'll be well established then. I think a week in situ is enough time for them to get used to it, see how much food's around and get used to feeding on it. So the feeder is, well, if I flip round here, it's a few 100 yards up this track here. So let's go and have a look. Stop waffling. Doesn't look like much has been touching it at all. Come to check on the feeder, and you can see they've been at it. Been going down. Get it topped up, and we'll come back. Leave it a few more days, and then we'll come back and give it a go. Well, it's 8 o'clock at night. Come down to check the feeder. Text from the keeper saying they've ate everything, and they have ate everything. So I'm now going to top it up, give it another couple of days, and then we'll come and shoot it. By this point the squirrels had found it quite well, and I was having to top it up relatively regularly. It then ensued a week of wet and windy weather, so I didn't get to do it then, but I kept feeding it up anyway. So we're finally here, it's D-Day. The squirrel feed has been in situ for nearly 3 weeks. Actually no, it's more than 3 weeks now. And in that time it's been emptied several times. So it's behind me in the woods here, so I'm going to go and stick my chair down near the hide that I've made, and we will see how today goes. Hopefully now the weather's turned cold, a couple of squirrels should turn up to the feeder. So let's see how we go. Gotta be comfortable. Upon one of the feeding up days I'd done at the feeder, I'd also created a natural blind as well, where I'm actually putting my chair next to that silver birch tree you saw earlier on. And there you go, that's the only exercise I'm getting this year. So I put up my natural blind and put up a little bit of camo netting to give me that extra bit of concealment. Got rid of the car and then went back to get the rifle and ammunition. Right, so I'm really well wrapped up, and that's not just because actually at the minute it's really mild, but I am going to be sat there for probably 2 hours, so I don't want to get cold, fidgety and so on and so forth. I suppose when you're squirrel shooting you need to be still. Okay, they've got quite keen eyesight, they're able to spot movement quite easily, so I'm going to tuck myself over there. You'll see the kit and me in the hide in a short while. The gun that I'll be using today is my new Air Arms S510 FAC Extra, and I'll be shooting the Field Diabalo ammo. I'm also going to hush it down with a Virox silent, so it's pretty quiet anyway with a shrouded barrel, but this just should just help reduce the muzzle noise so as not to disturb anything else that might be lurking in the woods. Right, I'm really looking forward to this. Let's see how we get on. And there you go, that's the feeder location. A good 25 strides away. I'm not too sure on the yardage exactly, but that's my hide, natural hide with a little bit of camo netting for extra concealment. That noise you can hear is several skeins of pink feet geese flying overhead. You never know, I might get a crack at those a little later. Anyway, so after getting into position, I simply make sure by sticking around into the tree that my gun is shooting exactly where I need it. One of the things I love about the Air Arms S510 is the ease in which you can load the magazine. Once the magazine is fully loaded, it's a simple case of cocking the side lever, inserting the magazine, and then pushing the cocking lever all the way forward to probe home the first pellet. Now once I was settled, I probably had to wait no more than about 20 minutes to half an hour before I saw the first signs of squirrel activity. The one thing that I also noticed is that before the squirrels turned up, the actual great tits and the occasional blue tit had come out to feed on the feeder as well, and I think that was a sign then for the squirrels to say that the kind of coast was clear. Our little friend made a second trip to the feeder after burying that peanut just behind it. Which, when you're in front of foxes with a rifle, is a bad mistake. Well, it's going okay so far. We've got 2 on the deck. What I have noticed is that when the great tits and the other birds actually come back to the feeder to nick the odd nut, that's a good sign that the squirrels are about to venture out, I've found, because it goes really quiet after taking a shot. I took 1 shot when I got here to make sure the rifle was exactly where I needed it, and then literally a couple of seconds before the first squirrel appeared, some great tits were actually feeding and coming and taking a nut, so they obviously thought that it was also safe to come and feed, and I think that cued the squirrels. And then I've just had the second one who actually came in a branch quite high up above the feeder, but it just paused for ages. I think he could see me and I could certainly see him, and I actually took him off the high branch, and hopefully you'll probably see him falling into shot on the replay, but I'm probably going to give it another half an hour or so and then call it a day. But so far with 2 in the bag, I'm chuffed as cheese. Okay guys, catch you in a bit. So I wasn't able to capture that second one perfectly on film, and I also saw a third one actually in the trees behind the feeder, but for now, do you know what, I think that's enough. I think what I'll do is continue to feed up this feeder over the next couple of weeks, entice the squirrels back onto it, and you never know, I might get another video out of it also. Well, it's gone really quiet now. I've had a great morning here, sat watching the world go by, and I've managed a couple of squirrels as well. So for me, it's a big thumbs up. Thanks ever so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and happy shooting. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Also stay tuned for our end of year mega montage coming up.